Welcome, my friends, to a place where the veil between our world and the unknown wears thin, where shadows dance in the darkness and whispers echo from the void. Tonight we journey into the heart of unsettling mystery, to places where the fog itself seems to hold its breath, shrouding secrets that time itself can't erase. Three stories await us, each one a chilling descent into the unknown, tales of those who dared to tread paths where the mist conceals more than just the landscape. Prepare yourselves, for the fog is gathering, and within its depths, some things are best left undisturbed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you dare, so you don't miss a single chilling tale from the shadows. Our first tale takes us to the isolated trails of Blackwood Forest, a place where towering pines cast long, eerie shadows and the air hangs heavy with the scent of damp earth and pine needles. It's here, in this deceptively serene wilderness, that a young hiker named Alex ventured one crisp autumn morning, eager to capture the beauty of the changing leaves. Little did he know he was stepping into a mystery that would consume him entirely. Alex was an experienced hiker, well prepared for the challenges of the wilderness. He charted his course, packed ample supplies, and even brought along his trusty journal, a place where he documented his adventures and reflections. His early entries are filled with a sense of awe and tranquility, capturing the vibrant hues of the forest and the crispness of the mountain air. But as the day wore on, a change crept over the landscape. A thick fog began to roll in, blanketing the forest floor in an ethereal, almost otherworldly mist. The once familiar trails became obscured, and the sun, previously a welcome warmth on his skin, was reduced to a hazy, distant orb. It's at this point that Alex's journal entries take on a more ominous tone. The solitude he once found so comforting now felt isolating, almost suffocating. The sounds of the forest, once peaceful, now seemed to whisper warnings, carrying on the wind. He writes of an uneasiness settling over him, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. He tried to shake off the growing sense of dread, pushing forward through the thickening fog, but the trail ahead seemed to twist and turn, leading him in circles, as if the forest itself was toying with him. Darkness was falling, and with it the temperature plummeted, sending a chill down his spine that had nothing to do with the cold. His last journal entry, scrawled in hurried, shaky handwriting, speaks of panic setting in. The fog had become so dense he could barely see his hand in front of his face. He writes of strange shapes moving in the periphery of his vision, of whispers carried on the wind that seemed to utter his name. Then, silence. The entry ends abruptly, leaving behind more questions than answers. To this day, Alex's disappearance remains unsolved, a haunting reminder of the unforgiving nature of the wilderness and the secrets that lie hidden beneath the swirling veil of the fog. Our next journey into the unknown takes us to the remote and desolate valley known only as Whispering Hollow. It's a place steeped in unsettling folklore, where the line between myth and reality blurs like the edges of the fog that perpetually shrouds the valley floor. It's here, nestled amidst the towering mist-shrouded peaks, that a small, isolated village once existed, its inhabitants living simple, quiet lives. Generations of families had called this valley home, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of nature. They were a self-sufficient people, their days spent tending to their crops, their evenings filled with the warmth of hearth fires and the sharing of stories passed down through generations. But Whispering Hollow held a secret, a darkness that whispered beneath the surface of its idyllic facade. Locals spoke of strange occurrences, of unexplained lights and sounds emanating from the surrounding hills. They told tales of a thick, unnatural fog that would descend upon the valley without warning, a fog that seemed to have a life of its own. Outsiders dismissed these stories as mere superstition, the product of overactive imaginations and long, isolated winters. But the villagers knew better. They knew that something wasn't right in Whispering Hollow, that something lurked within the fog, something ancient and unknowable. Then one day the village vanished. The outside world, largely unaware of the small community nestled within the secluded valley, didn't notice at first. It wasn't until a traveling merchant, a regular visitor to the village, arrived to find nothing but eerie silence and swirling fog that word began to spread. When authorities finally arrived at the remote location, they were greeted by a scene of unsettling stillness. The homes, once filled with life and laughter, stood empty, their doors wide open as if abandoned in haste. Possessions lay scattered about, meals left half-eaten, toys abandoned mid-play. It was as if time had simply stopped for the inhabitants of Whispering Hollow, freezing them in a moment of normalcy before spiriting them away. The search for the missing villagers proved fruitless. The fog, thicker than usual, hampered their efforts, obscuring the landscape and swallowing sound. To this day, the fate of the villagers of Whispering Hollow remains a chilling mystery. A stark reminder of the power of the unknown and the fragility of our existence in the face of forces we cannot comprehend. Our final tale of the night takes us to a stretch of winding mountain road known as Devil's Pass, a treacherous route notorious for its hairpin turns, steep drops, and the thick, disorienting fog that often blankets the asphalt. It's a place where caution is paramount, where even the most experienced drivers approach with a sense of unease. It was on this unforgiving stretch of road that a young couple driving home from a weekend getaway encountered something they couldn't explain. Something that would forever change their perception of the world around them. The couple, Sarah and David, were returning from a much-needed escape from the city. They had spent their days hiking scenic trails, their evenings cozying up by a fireplace, the stresses of their everyday lives melting away with each passing hour. As they began their descent down Devil's Pass, the familiar tendrils of fog began to snake their way across the road. At first, it was just a light mist, a common occurrence in the mountains, but as they rounded a particularly sharp bend, the fog thickened, engulfing their car in an eerie white silence. David, behind the wheel, slowed their speed, his knuckles white as he gripped the steering wheel, his eyes straining to see through the swirling mist. The air inside the car grew heavy, charged with an almost electrical tension, and a sense of unease settled over them, like the oppressive fog outside. It was then, through the swirling white, that they saw it. A pair of headlights approaching in the distance, their beams cutting through the fog like the eyes of a predator. David, unsure of the other car's speed or intentions, eased his foot off the accelerator, allowing their vehicle to slow even further. As the approaching car drew closer, they noticed something strange. It wasn't slowing down. It continued to barrel towards them, its headlights unwavering, its presence growing more menacing with each passing second. David, fearing a head-on collision, reacted instinctively, swerving their car to the right, the tires screeching in protest as they veered dangerously close to the edge of the cliff. He slammed on the brakes, bringing their vehicle to a jarring halt just inches from the precipice. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they sat there, suspended between the mountainside and the abyss, the fog swirling around them like a shroud. When they finally caught their breath, they turned their attention back to the road, expecting to see the mangled wreckage of the other car, but there was nothing there. The road ahead was empty, swallowed by the impenetrable fog. They waited, listening for the screech of tires, the crunch of metal, any indication that the other car had simply passed by. But the only sound was the pounding of their own hearts and the eerie silence of the fog-choked mountain pass. David, shaken but determined to find an explanation, carefully maneuvered their car back onto the road and cautiously continued their descent. It was then, as they rounded another bend, that they came across something even more unsettling. A car, identical to the one they had seen in the fog, was parked haphazardly on the side of the road, its engine idling, its headlights cutting through the mist. They pulled up behind the abandoned vehicle, their minds racing with questions. Who was driving that car? Where did they go? And why had they vanished into thin air? David, his curiosity outweighing his fear, cautiously approached the other car, its windows fogged over, obscuring the view inside. He knocked on the driver's side window, his knuckles rapping against the cold glass, the sound echoing strangely in the stillness. And so we emerge from the swirling mists, our minds filled with unsettling tales and unanswered questions. The fog, a recurring character in our stories tonight, serves as a chilling reminder of the mysteries that surround us, the unknown that lurks just beyond the veil of our perception. If you enjoyed these tales of vanishings and eerie encounters, Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into the dark and mysterious. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had an unsettling experience in the fog? Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and beware the fog, for you never know what secrets it may conceal.